He destroyed me. That is how Graham Rix remembers it. Fear is not a word you hear much in football. Players do not like to admit it. But fear was real. And for a winger like Graham Rix, fear was part of the job. He played in a time when tackles could break bones, when referees looked the other way, when hard men ruled the pitch. These 7 players were not just tough, they were hunters. And Rix was the prey. Graham Rix played for Arsenal from the mid-1970s to the mid-1980s. He was a winger, quick feet, good cross, smart brain. But he was not big, he was not strong, and the men he faced every week knew it. English football in those days was brutal. The pitches were mud, the tackles were late, and the rules were loose. A winger had 2 choices: get kicked or get smart. Rix tried to do both, but some men could not be avoided. Some men left marks that lasted years. This list of 7 players is not confirmed word for word by Rix. He never sat down and said these exact names in order, but the story fits. These 7 men played in his era. They faced him on the pitch, and they all had one thing in common. They scared the life out of creative players. Whether Rix said it out loud or not, these were the monsters under his bed. Let us start with Graham Souness. Liverpool, central midfield. Souness was different from the rest. He could play, world-class passing, vision, control. But he could also hurt you. And that mix made him worse. Souness had a rule: hit them in the first 5 minutes. Make them think twice. Make them hesitate. That hesitation is what wins games. For Rix, cutting inside from the wing meant entering Souness territory. And Souness did not share. He would time his tackle perfectly. Ball first, then man. Legal, but painful. Jack Charlton once said Souness had a mean streak. He was right. Souness did not kick you because he lost his temper. He kicked you because it worked. Rix played against Liverpool all the time. Arsenal versus Liverpool was a war. And Souness was their general. He controlled the middle of the pitch with his feet and his fists. For Rix, that meant one thing: stay wide or get flattened. Souness was smart about it too. He knew when to kick and when to play. If Arsenal were winning, he would kick more. If Liverpool were winning, he would show off his skill. That unpredictability made him dangerous. You never knew which Souness would show up, the artist or the assassin. Most of the time, it was both. He would play a beautiful pass, then follow it with a tackle that left you on the ground. The crowd loved it. Liverpool fans sang his name. But for Rix, hearing that name meant danger. It meant pain. It meant 90 minutes of looking over your shoulder. Brian Robson was next. Manchester United. Box-to-box midfielder. Captain Marvel. Robson was not dirty. He was just relentless. He never stopped running. He never stopped tackling. And he never worried about his own body. 50-50 challenges are called that because both players have a chance. But with Robson, it was more like 80-20. He threw himself into every tackle like it was the last one he would ever make. Rix played with Robson for England. He saw it up close. Robson did not try to hurt people. He just did not care if he did. In league games, Arsenal versus Manchester United, Rix had to track back. He had to defend. And sometimes that meant standing in Robson's path. It was like standing in front of a train. Robson did not slow down. He did not swerve. He just went through you. The fear of Robson was not fear of malice. It was fear of force, pure unstoppable force. Robson broke his own leg 3 times in his career. 3 times. And each time he came back stronger. That tells you everything about the man. He did not know how to quit. He did not know how to hold back. Every match was a battle. Every tackle was a war. And Robson fought like his life depended on it. For Rix, that intensity was terrifying. You could not reason with it. You could not avoid it. You just had to survive it. Norman Hunter was older. Leeds United. Then Bristol City. By the time Rix was playing regularly, Hunter was near the end. But his name was enough. Bites your legs. That was his nickname. It was not a joke. Hunter built a career on making forwards scared. He did not need to catch you every time, just once. And you would remember. Even when his legs slowed down, his mind stayed sharp. He knew where you would go before you did. And he would be waiting. For a young winger, the idea of Norman Hunter was as bad as the man himself. You heard the stories. You saw the scars on older players. And then you saw his name on the team sheet. The fear started before kick-off. Hunter played football like he was defending his home. You were not welcome, and he made sure you knew it. Leeds in the 1970s were a machine built on intimidation. Don Revie created that team. He taught them to win by any means, and Hunter was the enforcer. He was the example. Cross the line, and Hunter would cross you out. Even when he left Leeds for Bristol, the reputation followed him. Young players knew his name. They knew what it meant. And when they faced him, they played different, softer, scared. That was Hunter's real power, not his tackles, his legend. Tommy Smith was quiet. Liverpool, the Anfield Iron. Bill Shankly said he was not born, he was quarried. That tells you everything. Smith did not shout. He did not threaten. He just acted. Off the ball, he would dig an elbow into your ribs. On the ball, he would arrive late and leave you on the ground. Lou Macari said Smith used to punch players in the stomach, just to let them know he was there, and the referees did not care, especially not at Anfield. The Kop end was a fortress, and Smith was the guard. For Rix, playing at Anfield meant playing scared. He had to get his cross in fast, because Smith was coming, and Smith did not miss. The mental side of it was the worst. You knew he would hit you. You just did not know when. That waiting, that dread, that is fear. Smith had this look, cold, empty, like he felt nothing. Some players got angry when they tackled. They shouted. They lost control. Not Smith. He was calm, clinical. He would hurt you and then walk away like nothing happened. That coldness was worse than anger. Anger you can handle, you can fight back. But coldness? That stays with you. It gets in your head. And it never leaves. Joe Jordan was a striker. That makes him different. Wingers do not usually fear strikers, but Jordan was not usual. He played without his front teeth. His face looked like a warning sign. He was a chaos agent, elbows high, challenges reckless. He did not just fight centre-backs. He fought everyone. When Jordan was on the pitch, the whole game got rougher. Arsenal's defenders had to deal with him, and when they got battered, the mood changed. Suddenly, it was not football anymore. It was a street fight. Jordan did not target Rix directly, but his presence raised the temperature. It made everyone more violent, more angry, more dangerous. For Rix, that meant the whole pitch was a minefield. Jordan turned games into wars, and wars do not have winners, just survivors. Jordan played for Leeds and Manchester United, two of the toughest teams in England. He fit right in. His style matched theirs. Physical, aggressive, nasty. He would climb over defenders to win headers. He would use his elbows as weapons, and because he was a striker, he got away with it. Referees expect defenders to be rough, but strikers, they get more freedom. Jordan used that freedom to terrorise back lines, and the ripple effect reached everyone on the pitch, including wingers like Rix. Billy Bremner was small, 5'5", but size did not matter. Leeds United, then Hull City. Bremner was fire in a tiny package. He nipped at your ankles. He scratched. He fouled. He talked trash the whole time. His job was to break your rhythm, to stop you thinking, to drag you into a fight you could not win. For a technical player like Rix, Bremner was a nightmare. You could not get a clean touch. He was always there, always buzzing, always biting. Leeds played football like it was war, and Bremner was their sergeant. Even when he moved to Hull late in his career, he still had it. That anger, that edge. Facing Bremner meant 90 minutes of harassment. No rest, no space, just pain. Bremner was the captain of Leeds, the leader, and he led by example. He showed his teammates how to intimidate, how to foul, how to win ugly. Leeds won the league playing that way. They won cups. They became one of the best teams in Europe. But they were also the most hated. And Bremner was at the centre of it all. His red hair, his snarling face, his constant movement. He was everywhere. And everywhere he went, trouble followed. And then there was Ron Harris, Chelsea, Chopper. If there was one man on this list that Rix truly feared above all, it was him. Harris was a specialist. His job was simple: stop the winger. And he did not stop them with skill. He stopped them with violence. High tackles, late tackles, tackles from behind. All legal back then, all part of the game. Arsenal versus Chelsea was a London derby. It mattered. And Harris made sure the opposition winger did not matter. He had a method. Early in the game, he would let you knock the ball past him. Then he would take you out hard, clean through. After that, you did not try it again. You were too scared. That was the plan. And it worked. Harris only got sent off once in his whole career. Once. Despite being called Chopper. That shows you how much referees allowed. For Rix, facing Harris was facing the inevitable. You knew he was going to kick you. The only question was when. And how bad. Playing on the left wing against Chelsea meant playing against Harris. And that meant pain. Harris played over 650 games for Chelsea, more than anyone else in their history. He was a one-club man, and Chelsea loved him for it. He was their protector, their enforcer, their legend. But for opposition wingers, he was a nightmare. George Best called him one of the toughest players he ever faced, and Best faced everyone. If Best struggled against Harris, what chance did Rix have? None. Absolutely none. These 7 men were not accidents. They were products of their time. English football in the 1970s and 1980s was built on fear. The pitches were heavy, mud and water everywhere. Rix could not use his pace. He had to be clever instead. But clever only gets you so far when someone is trying to break your leg. Referees did not protect players. Yellow cards were rare. Red cards were almost impossible. You could foul someone 5 times before the referee said anything. And by then, the damage was done. The culture said it was a man's game. Toughen up or get out. Players like Rix had no choice. They played through the fear, or they stopped playing. The Football Association did not care about player safety back then. There were no studies about injuries, no concern about long-term damage. Players were just tools. Use them until they break. Then get new ones. That attitude came from the top down. Referees reflected it. Managers accepted it. And players suffered because of it. Careers were cut short by injuries that could have been prevented. But prevention was not the priority. Entertainment was. And fans found violence entertaining. The worst part was not the tackles themselves. It was everything around them. The build-up, the waiting. Rix would wake up on match day knowing who he faced. If it was Liverpool, that meant Saunis and Smith. If it was Chelsea, that meant Harris. His body would tense before he even got to the ground. In the tunnel, he would see them. Cold eyes, no smiles. They were already at work, and their work was hurting him. The warm-up was worse. You would stretch and move and try to feel loose, but your muscles stayed tight because your brain knew what was coming. Then the whistle blew, and for 90 minutes you were hunted. Every time you got the ball, you checked over your shoulder. Where is he? How close? Do I have time? Most of the time, you did not, so you moved it quick. 1 touch, 2 at most. Stay moving, stay alert. Because if you stopped, they arrived. And when they arrived, they hurt you. The psychology of it was brutal. Fear affects everything. Your first touch gets heavy. Your passes go astray. Your decisions get worse. You see danger everywhere, even when it is not there. That is what the hard men wanted. They did not need to tackle you every time, just enough times to make you think they would. Then your own fear did the rest. It destroyed your game from the inside. The pain did not end with the final whistle either. After the match, Rix would sit in the dressing room. His legs were bruised, his ankles were swollen, his ribs ached from elbows he did not see coming. The other players were the same. Everyone had marks. Everyone limped a bit. That was normal. That was the job. But it stayed with you. On Sunday, you could barely walk. On Monday, you tried to train, but your body refused. By Tuesday, you were better. By Wednesday, you were almost right. And then it was Thursday. And you looked at the fixture list. And you saw Liverpool away, or Chelsea at home, and it started again. The fear, the dread, the knowledge that in 3 days someone was going to try to break you. That cycle never stopped. Week after week, season after season. For 10 years, Rix lived like that. Always hurt, always healing, always waiting for the next hit. The medical care was terrible too. No ice baths, no physio pools, no proper treatment. You got a bag of ice and a pat on the back. Broken bones were common. Twisted ankles were ignored. Concussions did not exist as a concept. You got knocked out and you played on. That was expected. Heroes played through pain. Cowards sat out. And nobody wanted to be called a coward. The mental toll was just as bad as the physical one. Rix had talent. He could beat defenders with skill, but skill needs confidence, and confidence needs safety. When you know a tackle is coming, you rush things. You make bad choices. You play scared. And scared players do not win matches. The 7 men on this list understood that. They did not just want to hurt Rix. They wanted to break his spirit, make him doubt himself, make him pass when he should dribble, make him hide when he should attack. That was the real goal. Physical pain heals in days. Mental scars last for years. Some players never recovered. They got kicked once too hard and never played the same again. Rix was lucky. Or maybe he was just stubborn. Either way, he kept coming back. The crowds made it worse too. Fans back then wanted blood. They cheered the hard tackles. They booed the skilled players for being soft. At away grounds, it was horrible. The abuse from the stands mixed with the violence on the pitch. You felt surrounded, attacked from all sides. Home games were better, but not by much. Even your own fans expected you to take the punishment. If you went down injured, they thought you were weak. If you stayed down too long, they turned on you. So you got up. You limped for a bit. Then you kept playing. Because that was the only choice. Show weakness and everyone pounced. The opposition, the fans, even your own manager. Weakness was not allowed in that era. You played hurt or you did not play at all. But fear can teach you. It can make you faster. Not with your legs, with your brain. Rix learned to think quick, to move the ball before the tackle came. His assist in the 1979 FA Cup final proves it. Arsenal versus Manchester United. Final minutes. Rix got the ball on the left. He did not wait. He did not dwell. He crossed it instantly. Alan Sunderland scored. Arsenal won. That cross was instinct, but instinct born from fear. If Rix had hesitated, Manchester United's midfield would have closed him down. Robson would have arrived. Or someone worse. So Rix did not hesitate. He acted. That assist won Arsenal the cup. But it was fear that made it possible. Fear of the hit that was always coming. There is one more name worth knowing. Peter Storey. He was not on the list of 7. But maybe he should have been. Storey played for Arsenal, same team as Rix. And he was brutal. Rix said it himself. Storey did not care if you were 16 or 26. In training, he would smash you. He did not hold back. That was how Arsenal prepared their young players. If you could survive Storey on a Tuesday, you could survive anyone on a Saturday. It was tough love, but it was also abuse. Storey hit his own teammates harder than he hit opponents. That was the culture. That was the Arsenal way. And it hardened Rix. It made him ready for Souness and Harris and all the rest. Internal intimidation prepared him for external violence. The monster in the dressing room prepared him for the monsters on the pitch. So did Rix really name these 7 players? Maybe. Maybe not. The exact quote is hard to find. It might be a mix of his words and someone else's list. But does it matter? These 7 men were real. They played in his era. They faced him on the pitch. And they all scared creative players. Rix might not have said their names in order, but he felt them. Every week, every tackle, every bruise. The fear was real, and the names fit. Graham Rix survived. That is the point. He played over 300 games for Arsenal. He won the FA Cup. He played for England. He did not let the fear stop him. He used it. He learned from it. He got faster in his head. He got braver with the ball. These 7 men tried to break him, but they made him better instead. Fear is a teacher if you let it be. Rix let it be. He faced Souness in the middle. He faced Harris on the wing. He faced Robson's engine, and Hunter's reputation, and Smith's silence, and Bremner's bite, and Jordan's chaos. And he kept playing. That is not weakness. That is strength. Football today is different. Tackles like Harris made are banned. Players like Souness would be sent off every week. The pitches are perfect. The referees protect skill. Modern wingers have it easy. They get fouled and the referee blows the whistle. They get protection. They get free kicks. Sometimes they even get penalties. Back in Rix's day, you got nothing. You got kicked and the game went on. You got elbowed and the referee looked away. You complained and you were told to shut up. That was the deal. Take it or leave it. Most players took it because they loved the game too much to walk away, even when it hurt, even when it scared them. They played because that was who they were, and Rix was one of them. Back then, skill had to protect itself, and Rix did. He survived the hardest era of English football. He survived the 7 monsters. Whether he named them or not, they shaped him. They scared him, and they made him great. That is the story. Not that he was afraid, but that he played anyway. That is what makes Graham Rix a legend. Not just his skill, not just his trophies, but his courage. The courage to face his fears every single week and win.